Hello everyone and welcome to Freddy Cooks International Soul Food. Today we are cooking collard greens, and even though I already have a recipe for collard greens on my channel, we are revisiting this recipe for the people who have just entered the chat. So if you like soul food, if you like collard greens, this is a quintessential, and shall we get started? Of course we shall. You're going to need a pot, you're going to need some seasonings, and you're going to need some meat to season these greens with. Now, there are other ways to do this in other parts of the world, but today I'm going to take you to the deep south, dirt road, country parts of Alabama to show you how we do it. You're going to add at least a half a cup of vegetable oil if you're filling your greens all the way up to the top. And we're also going to need some fatty meat or smoked meat. If you choose to use pork, you can use bacon, fatback, ham hocks. You can use turkey or smoked turkey legs, smoked turkey necks, and you can add as much as you want. That is your business. So we're gonna let the meat fry, and you'll see that I'm going to end up taking the bacon out after it browns because it's not going to take as long to brown as my ham hock or the bigger meats. If you choose to use larger cuts of meat that require longer cooking times, then of course you can put those in first and let them get done before you add your bacon or fatback or meats that don't require as much time. That's just a matter of preference. As you can see here, I am adding a mixture of meats. I'm using smoked turkey wing, fatback, bacon, and I have a ham hock in there for good measure. This is going to add a nice smoke throughout the entire pot of greens. We'll have meat flavor throughout the entire pot, which is going to be extremely delicious. So I am just removing the bacon because it's already done. I don't want it to be crunchy. We're going to add it back later once our turkey wing and ham hock is completely done. If you choose to use turkey wings or ham hocks, just keep in mind that it will continue cooking with your greens. Now we're going to add a whole chopped yellow or white onion. As a matter of preference, you can add green and or red chilies. We're going to add 1/2 bell pepper cut in strips and 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. Let this saute with the meat for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to add our collard greens, which you've already washed thoroughly until the water has become completely clear. We don't need to add any additional water or broth because we have enough water on our greens to give us the liquid that we need. If you choose to add additional liquid, only add a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I mean no more than a half cup. Unless you just really like juicy greens. I mean, that's really a matter of opinion as well, but we don't have to add additional water. Our greens are going to wither down, and there will be enough pot liquor, as we call it, already made from the water that's already on the greens. Now, once your greens cook for about 5 minutes, and again, we're still on a medium heat. You can actually turn up the heat to a medium high for a little while to get it started. But we're going to be pulling the greens from the bottom to the top so that the greens on the top can now get closer to the heat, and we'll also be mixing the meat throughout the greens. Now, it is important that you use meat to flavor your greens if you're trying to stick to an authentic Southern style pot of collard greens. But more importantly, we're going to need to actually season these greens. Otherwise, don't ask to bring your greens to the cookout. We don't want your greens at Thanksgiving. It's not going to work out. So we're going to start with a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper, teaspoon of garlic powder, teaspoon of onion powder, teaspoon of Cajun seasoning, a teaspoon of sugar, Now, once these seasonings cook in with the greens for about 20 or 30 minutes, we're going to come back and taste our greens and then re-season accordingly. We are also going to be adding a tablespoon of white vinegar. I am actually using pepper sauce, which has vinegar in it. So if you have homemade pepper sauce, that's even better, but that's optional. The lid goes on while these greens cook for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then we'll come back and check. You can see how the greens change colors from a vibrant green to a dark green. We'll know our greens are done when they are completely withered and have become dark green. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. I also use vegetable soup mix to help season my greens. You can use Knorr's or Lipton's vegetable soup mix. Use a whole pack. It has dehydrated vegetables and seasonings. Now, I know it looks like we've used a ton of seasoning in our greens, and it's true, we have used a lot of seasoning, but that's the case when we are cooking collard greens. Otherwise, they're just not going to taste like nothing. So we'll let that cook some more, and then we'll come back and do a taste. And this is going to let us know if we need to add any other seasonings. If we do need to add seasonings, we'll just re-season with a half teaspoon to a teaspoon of all of the prior seasons that we used before, like the salt, pepper, garlic salt, onion powder, Cajun seasonings, and even sugar. If the greens taste bitter, then you can also add more sugar, possibly another half teaspoon to teaspoon of sugar. Oh, and at this point we need to be cooking at a medium low to medium heat, because technically the greens are already done at this point. We're just basically making sure that our seasonings are on point. I want you to remember the amount of seasoning that you need depends on how many greens that you're cooking. It also depends on the bunch of greens themselves, because all greens are not necessarily the same, doesn't give you the same taste. Some greens are more bitter than others depending on how they are grown and when they were picked. I just added another tablespoon of sugar because when I tasted my greens, they were still pretty bitter. Sugar doesn't make it sweet if you don't add too much. It'll just really cut the bitterness. You don't want the greens sweet, of course. That's why it's very important for you to taste your greens to see what you have. As you can see here, we didn't add any additional water or any liquid other than the water that was already on the greens after we finished washing them. So I just want to stress that point. There's no need to add any additional water. I've tasted my greens at this point, and I decided that I want to use another pack of vegetable mix. You'll have to just taste your greens to see how it tastes and what it needs, if it needs more seasoning, to determine if you want to use another pack of that or if you want to add more seasoning. I really love flavor packed in there. This may not be necessary, but I decided to do it for my own preference. At this point, your greens are done. You can cover and let them simmer for a little bit longer, but they're ready to serve. Thank you so much for joining me here at Freddie Cooks International. I hope you enjoyed this video. Here is one of the best pots of greens that you have tasted in your life. And that's a guarantee. Enjoy your day, enjoy your life, and enjoy your food.